Welcome to our very first official day one podcast.
Very first one.
Should we give our name first?
Sure.
Two cops, one donut.
Two cops, one donut.
That's what we're gonna be.
It doesn't get any better than that.
I am Eric Levine. It's weird because I want to just talk to you. I don't want to look at the camera.
I know, yeah.
So one day when we get big, like Rogan, we'll have cameras facing each other.
And we won't have to worry about,
Right. So, we're going to call the show Two Cops, One Donut. I'm Eric Levine. I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host
is Jose Zenteno, most Mexican name ever. You won't forget it, so.
Well, technically, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yes.
Got to make sure you stay by the mic, too.
Yeah. And I'm going to stay right here.
Yes.
But I'm so animated.
Just don't lick it.
I know.
Yeah. Well, you can. That's your mic. It's going to be yours.
We'll become really close friends, me and this mic.
Yes.
This Mike and I.
So, first, I want to give a little background of what this is, why we're doing this, what we decided. Basically, I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer for 16 years-ish, a little bit, almost 17. In May, it'll be 17 years. I've been a cop in Michigan, a cop down here, also a cop for the United States Air Force. So you can call that a military police, whatever you want to call it.
MP?
Yeah, MP. Security forces is what we call it in the Air Force. But that's how I got my start, learning the basics of law enforcement, use of force. I mean, it wasn't like I was out there protecting a city or anything like that. But
is that more like a base?
Yeah.
You're protecting the base?
Yeah, I protect the base, protect the assets.
Right
they have, there's patrol cars on certain bases, and you get to do the law enforcement aspect, or you do the security side where you're guarding a flight line, or you're guarding a nuke, or you're watching over, airplanes.
Right on.
So
my cousin who's MP, Air Force.
Nice.
So you Air Force guys out there.
That's right. Integrity first.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the life story. Okay. So, born and raised in Michigan, born in Flint at St. Joe's,
which we've all heard about.
Yeah.
Flint.
I got out of Flint before the water crisis happened. Fortunately,
right on.
But, I lived there about 23 maybe, joined the military, went to Montana for 4 years, and then I jumped out of service. I was active duty, jumped out of service, got a law enforcement job in Michigan, and then came down to Texas, and I got another law enforcement job. And certain details I'll be a little vague with because I'm still employed, and let's face it, we can both be held liable for what we say. We don't want to represent our departments in a negative way.
Never.
So we're going to tiptoe around that while still trying to bring attention to issues that we see, which is kind of the point of the show, is to improve the relationship between citizens and law enforcement. And not just law enforcement, we're going to eventually go down all of our first responders, and then our teachers and our veterans and our medical. So that's kind of the goal. So, I now have a wife that we've been together since basically junior high. I've known each other since we were 5, and
nice.
Inseparable. I'm 38 years old. She's 38. Our birthdays are about 10 days apart.
Nice.
And we have 2 beautiful daughters. An old crusty man dog. He's 15 years old. Is a pointer, and I've got my new Doberman. He's just a little over a year.
The monster.
Okay? The monster, as you saw, the big floppy ears. So, but enough about me, sir. Your story is much more interesting to me.
Let's see if I can follow that up. But as I introduced myself earlier, it's Jose. This guy was actually, what were you guys in the academy? You guys, instructor.
Yeah.
So that's where I met this guy. And then you'll get my side of somebody who hasn't been in the police force for very long. Still learning, still have so much to learn, but Again, my name's Jose Zenteno. I've been married for. Oh, she's gonna kill me for this if she hears this.
That's why I didn't say.
Oh yeah, I know.
I don't remember.
Look, we'll just say I've known her since middle school to 2014.
What year did you get married?
2014.
See, that's what I said. I've been married since 2014. 06, 05.
I'm super honored to be here, just to be asked to help out with the podcast. You'll figure out here soon that I really love to talk. If you haven't already figured that out. So
Where were you born?
Born and raised here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Lies.
Yep. Born and raised here in Fort Worth, Texas, man. I get it all. Is he Russian? Is he Mexican? Is he Italian? Nope. Just your
Russian.
Yeah.
Really?
I haven't even gotten that. Yeah. But no, just your typical Hispanic, Mexican American parents. My dad is from Mexico, originally from La Luz, the light, Michoacan. Which growing up, I was like, is that the Mexican version of Michigan, Michoacan? That's just me, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have all together, and I didn't help make all of them, but between my wife and I, we have 6 beautiful kids. I had 3, she had 2, and we have who you know as Levi. So
okay,
yeah.
Nice.
But just to add to what Levine said here, we're doing this to. I know you guys have heard humanizing the badge. Like we really want you guys to see, what it's like outside of cop life and be open and available for like questions maybe in the future. Yeah. Which I'm sure we'll get if this thing, goes where we think it might go.
Yeah.
Leaving questions in the comments, answering people's questions, which I get that now. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, let's be real. It's mostly gonna be you helping out with that because
I get that now.
I can't believe I've even gotten this much accomplished because I'm a dummy when it comes to all this stuff. So
you definitely outdone yourself, sir.
Well, I didn't really have to do a whole lot. The man cave was awesome on its own. This is my man cave. I just had to put the table in the middle of it. As you can see, I like Star Wars.
Well, they say sometimes the world opens doors for you and you really want to go after something. So it makes things work for you. And
dude, I've had this vision for about 3 years and I kept talking about it. I had some buddies that do like just an audio podcast and I kind of learned from their trials and tribulations going through that. And then I don't know, I just pulled the trigger. Like finally I was like, now's the time. I gotta do something.
You're like, hey, you dummy.
Yeah.
I've seen you, but let's do this.
So, if anybody's wondering why of all the people that I picked, why I picked you, one is just when we work together, we're like kids.
Yeah.
Every time we're not serious ever
at all.
We BS the entire time to the point where bosses look at us and like, you two need to like knock it off and go do your job.
Or just like we forget that we're police officers.
Yes. Yes. I like to think of it as in a good way.
Heck yeah, man.
It may not come across that way to the more serious guys out there.
But doesn't that make you more approachable?
Yes. I'm
Definitely.
The only thing that stops people from approaching me is my eyebrows, and
they are pretty fierce, man.
They are.
I thought I had fierce eyebrows, but
like it's cool though because it's like coming in style for the chicks to have big eyebrows now.
Yes.
So I had a guy at a restaurant that I was working at part time come up and literally rub my eyebrow with his thumb
for good luck
and said, "I love your eyebrows." And normally people don't try to touch a cop.
Yeah.
Now I will say he was highly intoxicated.
Oh, okay.
Heavily intoxicated. I don't know how you say that.
Heavily.
So yeah, he's pretty lit, and I just laughed. I was like, "Well, you're the first person to ever say that they're a good thing."
Pretty ballsy.
And he's like, they're in style. He's like, I wish I had your eyebrows. I go, no, you don't. Because believe it or not, sir, these are manicured. Right?
Constantly having to cut them.
Oh,
big caterpillars on your
I've got like one of those those buzzer,
same.
automatic. It's got a little guard on there. Oh my God, dude. One time, my dad, I'll go over to his house and tell him, like, man, I need to trim my eyebrows. He's like, why don't you use my thing? And he's got like one of those things. I was like, all right. And I look like my dad and I look very alike. Our eyebrows are different though.
Right on.
And, but I wasn't thinking about it. So I was like, all right, dude, it looked like I didn't have an eyebrow.
Been there.
So I had to do the other one.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to work. And you know how it's one of those things, like, it looks like a bigger deal to you than it does to other
Everybody
people.
else.
And I think, had I not said anything, nobody would have really mentioned it.
But you had to bring attention to yourself.
Because I'm like, look at my fucking eyebrows. And then my buddies are just like, yeah. And then it was on from there. It just nonstop.
So your kids didn't call you out like Levi did with me?
No.
Why did Daddy shave his eyebrows? I was like, boy.
No.
You know,
I got daughters, so it's all normal.
That kid called me out. I was like, dude, stop staring.
Right?
In there.
So, anyway, well, if we're going to do this, let's do this right, sir.
Do it, man.
You want to drink something?
Sure.
Okay. I don't have a fridge in here, so I came gangster style with a Yeti full of ice.
It's all right, man.
Get you some ice there, sir.
There you go.
Now, I don't want to typecast here at all, sir. Would you prefer the tequila or would you prefer the whiskey?
They both burn going down, so it doesn't even really matter. So,
okay,
we'll do this one.
That's the rock.
We had the tequila blanco from the Terramano.
No, that's no Blanco, sir.
No.
A little splash of water for me.
Just sip on that.
Oh yeah, let that ice get down there a little bit.
There you go, brother.
I'll do this. Here's to the rock. You know, talk about a guy that nobody can seem to hate.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could possibly hate
the rock. No.
He motivates me. The dude's always working out at like 5 a.m.
I wish I had that motivation.
You got it. You got a home gym too.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw that. Show me pictures.
I don't want to brag. That's between us two.
You like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Salute, sir.
Isn't that what you call me in the academy, was the sleeper?
Mm-hmm. You look like you couldn't run. Oh, are you not a straight drinker? Oh, I didn't know that.
No, it's okay though.
All right.
I'm man up.
I'm gonna get your taste buds open,
I'm gonna
sir.
get girl chest hairs.
There you go. More.
We go home and the wife's gonna be like, oh, "You look different."
You look like Tom Selleck now.
It's like, yeah, give me a shot.
So I am a connoisseur of foods and drink. Okay, so I went on a whiskey kick for a while. So I was learning about all the whiskeys and trying those all out. Eagle Rare is my favorite. And then I decided to go for scotches. I learned I don't like that peaty, smoky scotch. I think they call it like the Highland style. And then now I'm on a tequila thing. So I'm trying out the Blancos, the Reposados, and the Anejos. And then I just learned there's extra Anejo. So, and that's just the years that it's
left in longer.
Yeah, left in longer. So the longer it's in there. So
I am so clueless when it comes to this stuff.
yeah, it's fun to learn though.
I just know ranch water. That's it.
Ranch water.
That's all. All I know.
Yeah. So I told you about that on a part time, didn't I? Oh my god.
I was just like, man, I stick with ranch water. I don't wake up sick.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Hey, hold the phone. You stay right here, sir.
Okay. Gonna pause it?
No, we'll keep it going. You're gonna talk while I go grab something quick.
Sounds good to me. Well, too bad we don't have like where you could call in while Levine does his thing. That way you could just talk to me. And here comes the monster. Hopefully he doesn't bite my hand off.
Get out of here, dummy. Check out your boy.
There you go, man.
Chico, bro.
You're the man, bro.
Oh, I forgot one other thing.
I am what you called a cheap date.
Forgot I had everything you need.
Levine may have been like a bartender or two. He just left that out.
Yeah, I was a bartender at Applebee's for a time.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got
So you know how to have a good time?
I got fired.
Why?
It's the only job I've ever been fired for. And technically, I got laid off by Subway, so I still am employed by Subway.
You let people go in the back and make their own sandwiches? Is that why?
Oh, no. The manager, I was a student. I was...
Much better.
Yeah?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
I was trying to go to college, and one day the manager came up and said, hey, we're having a staffing issue. We want to get a full-time person in here, but we're going to work you in, so when people call in sick or there's a gap in the thing, we'll get you in there. I said, okay.
Like a rover?
Yeah. So like 2 weeks go by, starting to hurt for some money, you know.
Right on.
And they're like, it's just, we don't have a spot for you right now.
Was this Levine college days or
yes.
Levine high school days?
College.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, when do I get to work? I mean, I kind of was here first. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, for right now, you're laid off until we get more spots. And I was like, okay. You know, I'm a dumb kid. I don't even know what that really means. So basically, I got fired for someone else. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just
just let you go.
They just let me go.
Jeez.
So that was back when Subway had stamps.
I remember that.
Yeah. I
remember that.
I was a snot. We were one of the first to have a drive-through. So I'd have my buddies go up and order my favorite sandwich in the drive-through and then just leave. I'm like, oh no, what do we do with this sandwich? I'll take it. I like that stuff.
They keep ordering the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally caught on that you like the Italian BMT.
Yeah.
And, oh no, that's my favorite.
That was mine at the time. I mean, it changed over time. Then it's when I learned the appreciation for jalapenos and jalapenos for those that don't speak Spanish.
Right. Right on.
Do you speak Spanish, right?
Very mucho.
Oh,
I'm fluent.
I'm so dumb.
But it's, what do we always talk about when, well, us newbies. I know I'm going on 4 years, but I'm still a rookie. If you don't use it, you lose it. So sometimes I'm searching for words, and then sometimes I'll be on scene and they look like they've seen a ghost because they see this, and then I'm like, "How can I help you, señora?" And they're like, "What?"
At least you can get the accent, though.
Yeah,
I can't even.
So that's just.
I got nothing.
That's probably because my dad sounds like Antonio Banderas. So when he talks in English,
really,
yeah, it's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
bet that gets him the ladies.
But then I also compare him to. Did you watch that Jenny Rivera show?
No.
There's a character on there, and I know people see this, they're gonna know who I'm talking about. But Google it. It's a guy named, the character was Trino or Trino. And when he talks and gets amped up and starts talking that Mexican Spanish like super, super fast, that's what my dad sounds like. So it's funny to listen to this dude. It's like, this dude sounds like my dad, but not the creepy role that he played. But yeah,
okay,
yeah, it's funny.
No, I never heard of that. Was that
is it on cable? Some show? It's on Netflix. And yes, I watched all 99 episodes. Or was it 90 episodes? It was like 90 episodes.
Holy cow. In one season?
It was just one season, 90 something odd episodes.
Yeah, never heard of that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And it's subtitled, and it's like half Spanish, half English. They're speaking both languages. So
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So I know we're gonna, on this show, a lot of times we're gonna BS back and forth like we're doing.
For sure.
We're also going to have topics for each episode. So because otherwise nobody's gonna learn a damn thing from us.
I know.
Other than the BS that we talk, which is fine. Yeah, exactly. So the topic I want to bring up today, because one, I think it's the easiest for you and I.
For sure.
Because one, we live it, breathe it, believe in it. And
definitely.
Two, I think it's one of the more important things for non-police to hear about. So it's going to be community policing. All right.
Super important.
Yeah. So before we get into that, I want to put our disclaimer out there on
Right on.
this stuff. All right? We are in no way representing who we work for. It's just our opinions. As police officers, I have opinions. There's stuff that people do I don't agree with, but I don't let that affect me in my job.
Nope. Can't.
Because one, I can't.
Yeah.
That's not what I signed up to do. There's laws and there's discretion.
Discretion is everything.
So if I can live in that discretionary area as long as I can, I will. But when the law tells me I have to do something, I'll do it. Now, I'll admit, I do think my personal beliefs, my experience, a lot of that stuff can influence my discretion. I think that's fair for anybody to say. Yeah. But I think that I try to recognize if it's a bias. If I'm like, I don't agree with people street racing cars, and I've got discretion on whatever that could be. But because I'm like, no, that's dumb. You shouldn't be doing that. Or you've got a real nice car that you've been known to street race with, or whatever it is, and I'm dealing with that person because I know I really dislike street racing and the stuff that it's caused.
Same.
I'm going to be overly objective and try to stop that bias from coming through. So I say all that to say that we're going to be walking a line on the show, and we both recognize that. Yeah. So we're going to do our best to just give opinion based on our experiences, and it does not reflect our employer at all.
Definitely.
So we're here to talk about community policing today. So with all that said,
enlighten everybody.
Yeah.
Get our point of views and as a civilian and as a police officer. So
So community policing on my side of the house, I'll give you a little background. I got a little bit of education. I got my master's degree in criminology. Nice. Got that from the wonderful TCU, Texas Christian University.
Go Frogs.
Yep, go Frogs.
TCU.
Not a lot of Christianity from what I saw there.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected it to be kind of like Notre Dame. And it wasn't at all. Not at all.
Notre Dame's more Catholic.
Yeah, they're Catholic. Yeah. So, no, very fun school. It was cool. Used my GI Bill, so it didn't cost me anything.
Sweet.
Except signing on the dotted line, back in the day. So I got that. I did my research paper, my thesis, in community policing, social media. Nice. And what I was going for was trying to show that social media should and could be used as a bridge to bridge the gap between the police and the community. And I didn't finish the thesis. I got all the research done. I got all my data. I did all that, but life got way too busy for me, and I never just wrote it all out, which happens to a lot of people that try to go for a master's with thesis. So I ended up dropping the thesis and then finishing up just doing the basic master's degree. So wish I would have finished it.
Still a degree, brother.
But yeah. And I want to put this out there too. Just because you have a degree doesn't make you a better cop. Matter of fact, all I look at education as is another tool. It can give you perspective. That's it. It just gives you perspective. So, because I cannot stand when you see new rookies that go out there and think because they've got a degree that it's giving them this edge up out in the street. It doesn't. It doesn't give you an edge. And the only reason I can say that is because I didn't get my degree until I had already been a cop for a long time.
Right on.
And I can look at that degree and say, you know what, this wouldn't have made me a better cop when I started.
Right on.
It gave me perspective. That's it. Just like growing up in Flint. Yeah. It gave me perspective. So lots of friends on both sides of the criminal justice system. Unavoidable. So with that said, doing that thesis in the social media aspect and whatnot, I basically learned that police like social media, the community likes social media. Mm-hmm. The problem is that there's too many things interfering with that being a tool to use to help bridge that gap. So you got the red tape, okay, legal liability, like what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. We understand there's a liability, so we're tiptoeing. Yeah, we're trying to give as much information as we can, the best way we know how, trying to bridge these gaps.
All without trying to break any rules.
All without trying to break the rules.
Just trying to be safe.
We don't mean no harm.
Exactly.
And even some of the information we give may be inaccurate. So
like they've always said, do your research.
Yeah. So we're going to try not to do that. And we'll definitely fix it if we figure out, for sure. We're wrong.
There's definitely no pride here.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. So
exactly. Right. So the community policing thing, it's pretty interesting, especially the history of it. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. That community policing, police work, just basically it went full circle. Okay, so back in the day, we're talking like village days, right?
Right on.
Typically, the person that was in charge of law enforcement, it wasn't called law enforcement, but just keeping the peace back then was respected people of their community. Right. So be like, hey, man, Billy stole Tommy's torch the other day, and we need you to address that. So he's, hey, goes up there, and that's their guy, right? That's their boy. And then it moved on. It started in England. I think that's when cops were first called, like, they were considered cops. I think it had something to do with the badge being copper. Their badges were made of copper, and so they called them coppers, bobbies. So that's where like the organized policing really started. And those guys worked a community that they are from, and they walked a beat. And everybody knew everybody. There's really good relationship there. However, those can be corrupted. Politicians get involved, all that stuff back in the day.
Money gets involved.
Right. So you had that initial era of, and it wasn't called community policing, but in a sense, I think that's what it was.
Right.
So now they had to figure out how to separate the politics with the police work and get everybody on a level of training. That was the big thing. So there was, the bobbies, maybe they had some training, but there was no standardization. And then we had like the 50s and 60s era where it became the professional policing era. Right on. And what that is basically, just the facts, ma'am, the very impersonal cop. Now they're not walking a beat anymore. They've got radios, they've got cars. That face-to-face started to disappear. Now, police were shagging more calls and able to handle up more work, but now the relationship starts to suffer. So then the 70s came in, 80s, and they had this thing called community policing. And it's kind of been that way ever since. And it's just improved based on the needs and wants of everybody.
Would you say that the mentality is, I was like, man, these guys are robots because there was no face-to-face.
Right. Yeah. And that was part of the issue. And then it gets even more complicated because now you got cops that weren't from their area that they're policing. So they don't have that connection, that, I don't want to call it ownership, but that
pride, a sense of pride.
Yeah. Pride in their neighborhood.
And we'll definitely address that later.
Yeah. So then community policing became a big movement. I think LAPD is really the ones that really took that to heart and kicked it off. And, you have your town hall meetings and your beat officers would meet into that. And then we started to kind of drift away from it again. And this isn't all departments. This is major cities that I've seen. Where you just work an area,
Right
a
on.
large area. Let's face it, cops are hard to come by. Always have been, always been understaffed for populations that they work. So you work a bigger area, now everything becomes less personal again because you just can't keep that up. So then they created this thing called the NPO, at least where I've heard of it.
Neighborhood police officer.
Neighborhood police officer.
Yeah.
Other sides or other departments may call it something different, but basically they're the liaison between the community and the police department.
Or how was it? It was defined as the bridge that gaps civilians to police. See, I remember some stuff in the academy.
See, there you go. So it's the NPO is an important role. Now, the departments that I saw, in Michigan, even in Montana, the officer was the NPO. They were their beat manager. And what I mean by beat, for people that are trying to understand what that means, I don't like the word beat when it comes to police work. The more I think about it.
It sounds like old school. Like working the beat.
Yeah. But in today's climate, like I'm not beating anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to call it that.
Use that word. Yeah.
So we'll just call it area of responsibility. So an officer's area of responsibility is his beat, and they're in charge of talking to the community, talking to community leaders, and addressing the issues within their area.
Right on.
Whether that's with physical security assessments, going to businesses and your lights are out on this side, we're getting a lot of crime over here, you need to address that, maybe putting some cameras up or something like that to try to deter some of the activities that are going on or concerns. And NPOs are great. I love them. I think they're a valuable tool for officers that work that same beat, and they can communicate with them, letting them know the problems and whatnot. Part of the struggle with that is getting your officers to communicate back with your NPOs.
Right. But everybody has a cell phone now. Everybody has a little mini laptop in their hand. So it's almost, there's really no excuse. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, for example, I had some issues right across the street from the school. Hey, Johnny, here's what's being said. Here's what's being complained about. And it was handled that quickly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a matter of just a sense of taking pride in where you work.
Yes.
The area.
Now, that's why I like the concept of beats more than I like zones. For instance, zones is, it's like a beat, but much larger. Instead of, a neighborhood area, it's several neighborhood areas and maybe a part across of a freeway or something. So that makes it difficult to get that personal relationship in your area. And it makes it difficult to have that pride in your area.
Right on.
Me going through all of my experience, you didn't get a beat. You didn't get any area of responsibility. Your job was to go clean up. You go take calls everywhere.
Shag calls, baby.
Yeah, you're shagging calls. You had to earn it. You had to have an area open up, and the sergeant, your supervisor, had to say, all right, Levine, you've been doing good work. I think it's time to give, they reward you with a beat.
With the responsibility of a certain area.
Yeah. Good deal. So it was like, you got that and you're like, all right, I can't fuck this up. Yeah. Like, I got to take care of my beat. These are my peeps, And so I was like, it's been beating my head for so many years. My grandfather was, fire chief. My dad's a cop. I got several cousins they were state troopers and military members. And it's just like, you listen to the old schools, you listen to the vets, they're going to school you. They're going to tell you how it is, learn from their mistakes, take advantage of that experience. And I've never been the rebellious type to not take advice.
Same.
There's only one time I've ever not taken advice from my grandfather. And that was when he told me not to buy a house when I moved to Montana. And God rest his soul, I was right. I was right. I was like, you don't understand. It's not like in Flint. Like houses sell here because it's next to a base. And I was like, he's like, you're only going to be there for a limited time. You're not going to make. And it worked out for us.
There you go.
So that's when I think that was the first time I ever felt like my own man. I like stepped up and I was like, you know what? I just made that decision.
I made a man's decision.
Adulting. What's up? So, yeah. So, where was it going with that? What were we talking about? My mind got lost on that.
Beat concept.
Beats, yes. Yeah. So the ownership part. Yeah.
Yes,
You're taking pride in
ownership of a beat.
So to me, that has to be brought back. That's got to be made a priority if community policing is going to work.
Can we address the fact that when it did turn into, man, that's where you lose the whole neighborhood policing aspect of it because you're so busy with taking calls.
Yeah.
And you're so call driven, and then you don't have the time to sit there and have a conversation with it's just making up a name, just Miss Mary.
Okay.
Or, Mr. Fred.
Okay.
Just you don't when you get call driven, that you lose that precious time with these people, with civilians, and then of course it turns into, man, these guys are just robots.
Yeah.
So
and then you get into that us versus them type
definitely
stuff.
Definitely.
And I want to say that in my opinion, my experience, the us versus them is very heavily driven on community support. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a community that heavily supports their police,
which they do,
for us, yes, where we work,
we're blessed.
We're very blessed. It's night and day from what I've seen in Michigan, and that's not all of Michigan, but just where I was at, and that us versus them. If the community supports them heavily, officers don't want that messed up
at all.
Because they know they've got a good thing going. Mm-hmm. So officers will keep each other in check a lot more.
But you know what fuels that freaking flame for us versus them is freaking social media. And that's why we're here.
Yes.
To try to disprove all that.
Small little efforts to fight back.
Yeah.
So to expand on that, with the community support, I'm going to keep you and I should keep you in check no matter what. That's what I signed up to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And in our department, I've seen an officer fired or charged every year that I've been here. 9 years, every year that I've been here, somebody's been fired or charged. So I want to help calm down the I don't want to call it a myth or rumor because it's happened. Yeah. Departments have covered up and done stuff like that. Not ours that I've known, but in the past. I think New Orleans had a huge deal in like the 90s or something with cover-ups and things of that nature, which from my understanding, it's an awesome department now. Right. They took care of it. They got a new chief and they just started doing the right thing.
Right on.
But you tend to keep that when people get fired or whatever, all over the social media, you're constantly hearing that the cops don't keep cops in check. They don't. Right. Well, how are these cops getting fired and charged? They're being caught by other cops, whether it's DWIs. That's a big one for police. Yeah. Drinking and driving, and it's not the past. There's so many more things that keep people in check now, and you should be doing the right thing no matter
whether you
what.
Believe it or not, by doing stuff like that and charging police officers, and that's a trickle down effect. That's kind of makes everybody kind of reassesses their way they approach things. So it definitely affects us all.
Yeah,
when stuff like that happens. So
I had the worst one that I had to deal with was an officer for another city had committed a hit and run.
Oof.
And broke like a 14-year-old girl's leg, and left the scene, and we ended up finding him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard. It's so hard.
Because what's the first thing out of your mouth that you want to say? You should know better.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I'm sorry, but we should be held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
A higher standard.
Yeah.
Now,
if you guys aren't checking me, then who is?
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
like, I'm your boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know right away. Like, dude,
I'm gonna love you more for doing
stop
that.
fucking up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't let it get to a point where you give me no choice.
Exactly. I always tell people, man, do not tie my hands.
Yeah. And this is like any other job.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is working at Subway. Mm-hmm. You know, my boy is in the back taking a nap. And it's like, well, why didn't you tell him? Well, that's my boy. You know, what he did isn't the end of the world. It didn't hurt anybody. Blah, 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 blah. Police work is the same way. Yeah. You know, you catch your boy. Okay, we'll make a small one that everybody can relate to. Mm-hmm. You're sitting on your cell phone, dinking around, but you're getting paid, right? Yeah. Do I report that? Do I say, hey, Centino, he was on his phone for 15 minutes. Yeah. There was a call holding. Yeah. He should have done that. Mm-hmm. Do you report that?
It's a good question.
You know what I mean?
It's a good question because, you know, we all...
Right. Everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
Oh, check my email. Oh, somebody likes me on, you know, Facebook. What's up? Yeah. You know, look at me looking cute in my uniform. I don't do that. That's me. That's you. That's out of my generation. Yeah. I ain't duck lipping nothing on camera and nothing.
I think mine is just more, I'm just stupid. That's what it is. And then it comes off as funny.
I agree.
Thanks a lot, Levine.
You're stupid funny.
And I'll never name any names, but I've had that conversation. And it's just the old guy in me. Right. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm 41 years old. Yeah. I'll be 42 in August. I'm the old man in this group. I know, dude. Don't remind me.
I'm 38.
Yeah. So
I'm not way far behind you, but that's why your story is interesting.
I have had that conversation, and it was only out of love. I'm like, dude, you're going to get us in trouble. Yeah. I was like, dude, we've worked too hard to get this job. Right. Yeah. So believe it or not, we do police ourselves.
Yeah. But that's not every department. And that's the point I'm getting to. And I'm not trying to say like, you know, look at our department, so great. Your department's terrible. I'm just trying to have an honest conversation. Yeah. And I want people to understand, you know, yes, hold officers to a higher standard when it matters. Mm-hmm. But on things like that, stuff we all do. Yeah. Little things that
you do at your job at Walmart,
like me,
and Target.
If I'm in my patrol car and I'm like jamming out to like my favorite rap song or whatever it is, and it's got explicit lyrics,
which we do because we're human,
right? And I love music.
Yeah,
I love music. I love NWA. Yeah, I grew up with. I had to hide them on a Garth Brooks.
Same.
I wrote Garth Brooks on it. Because I didn't want my mom to find out. But it was a mixtape that my older cousin had made for me. And so, you know, I'm walking around my Walkman jamming out to NWA because, like...
You didn't want to get in trouble.
That was the shit. Yeah, you know, but they were so big and dressing like crisscross. Yeah. So...
I never dressed like crisscross.
I did. I had to do it at school because if I left the house, tried to leave the house with my clothes on backwards, then my mom would have... beat my butt red.
I was just too fat as a little kid. And I just looked weird, so I never tried it.
Oh, man.
I was like...
I'd have like my Paco jeans. I don't even know why Paco was popular. Oh, yeah.
You had too short taste inside inside Brooks and Dunn's covers.
Right? so good. Paperboy. Uncle Luke. I love Paperboy.
That song was a jam.
So... Where was I going with that?
Went off tangent there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
policing each other.
Yeah. So, or swearing. You know, everything's on camera. If you swear, it's the end of the world. Like, I curse.
Dude, I tried to make a conscious effort
I try
to not, and I'm pretty good about it. One, because I work with kids. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
if you ain't never swore around your kids once or twice, I mean, you got more control than me.
I will give you one example where I lost it, and of course, we're never going to name any names. It's just situations that we've been in, but it was a lady. She's wearing a diaper. Yes.
Okay.
And she's got her pants on, but she went and knocked over these 2 police bikes that do the processions for funerals.
Okay.
And
like motorcycles.
Motorcycle bikes.
Oh, okay.
And so my partner and I got called on the case or the call and we had her. I mean, she was compliant. She didn't really give us any trouble until she started doing this.
Oh.
Like she was going to spit. And I was like, don't you. And I was like, I had to put my palm to her face from turning around, and I'm sitting there cussing. I was like, don't you fucking spit on my.
Yeah.
And I was like, So she ended up, we ended up taking her to the hospital. So everything worked out.
She had mental health crisis going on.
Mental health crisis. This was before CIT. So,
okay.
But shout out to them for.
Bringing to light. Yeah. I think it's helping things.
Definitely
our CIT crew is amazing.
Yes.
Those guys, they stay busy.
Because I would bug.
Yeah.
He's retired now.
Okay.
Hope he doesn't see this and get mad at me. But Pena, I used to bug him left and right, man. I was always picking his brain on because what do we normally get taught? If they're a danger to themselves or others, mental app, take them to the hospital. But it's way more in depth than that. It's if they stop taking their pills. I haven't eaten in 2 days. And a lot of us didn't really know that. It was just, they threatened to kill themselves. Let's map them.
Yeah.
But it's way more in depth to that. Shout out to those guys. I know we kind of got off on tangent. So,
but so what I'd like to see from I'll say the other side, from citizens, we're people, especially in that first 5 years. You're in that window, and it doesn't matter. You can have you could have a doctorate in criminal justice and criminology and be 50 years old. There is nothing that can prepare you for doing the job.
No.
It can help you. It can give you tools, but until you get out in the street and start practicing for real, when things are real, because when you're in the academy, it's a safety zone. And you know that subconsciously, even if you're not thinking about it, they're giving you stress inoculation. They're giving you all these things. But at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, you gotta, that first 5 years is your 5 years to make mistakes. Now you just gotta hope and pray that your mistakes are minor.
And that you learn from them.
Absolutely.
Ego, you got to leave that at the door.
Yes.
I'll expand on that here shortly. But
I try to tell everybody, I'm a big jiu-jitsu guy. I love jiu-jitsu. Been doing it since 2006. Shout out to 10th Planet, because that's what's got me into it. Eddie Bravo, what's up? Actually met Eddie in Altus, Oklahoma. He did a big black belt seminar.
Nice.
For a new instructor that opened a gym out there, Greer. I think it's Mike Greer. Jason Greer. I think it's Jason. Anyway, shout out to him too, Greer. So he had this big black belt, all his black belts, Sean Bollinger. I don't think Denny came out there, Prokopos, but he had Brandon, I can never say his last name right.
A football player?
No. He's not a football guy. He might have been. He's a musician. He sings real well. I just can't think of his last name off the top of my head.
And when you said Brandon, I'm thinking of Brandon that was on the show. Oh God, I can't think of the show, but he's on the podcast with Joe Rogan. That Brandon?
Oh, Schwab.
Yeah,
Schwab. No, not that guy. No. Let's see. Botello is another one. And he didn't have Epstein out there either. Anyway, I know you don't know all these guys necessarily, but
who didn't kill himself?
Yes, good call. What got about him? Oh my God, we're gonna get Clinton. We gotta be careful.
Yeah, you kid. I'm kidding.
Kidding, Hillary. Don't find me. Um, so anyway, jujitsu. Where was I going with that? Training.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have all this experience, get all this training as far as in the academy, but it doesn't. It's not the same as real life. There's a safety net that you subconsciously know while you're in the academy, and the way this cancel culture is going, you're gonna make people not want to do this job.
Cancel culture. I forgot about that.
We're branching off of community policing, and I want to bring it back, but I will just end it on this part saying that we got to be more forgiving with police officers when we can be.
Yeah.
I would rather look at each situation and say, are they salvageable? Can we learn? Can he, she learn from it? Or whatever gender you go by, and don't discriminate
At all.
But can they learn from it? Can we recover? Because the taxpayers put a lot of money to get them to that point of having a badge.
Yeah.
I will say on record that I think training should be longer nationwide.
Yeah.
Us personally, I've been to 3 academies now, and where we work, best I've seen, and I've visited,
always heard.
and I've visited other ones too. Best. Oh my God. And even with that, I think we're extending it. We're going longer. We're almost at a year of training before you even hit the field. And that sucks for our guys.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, one, I think it's good.
My opinion on that is I've always said this. They train you 100 miles an hour. Then it's when you get out there and I'll say this too, what's your biggest tool is your big boy words.
Right.
Man, I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
It's the way you talking to people, which ties back into neighborhood policing, because if you don't know how to talk to somebody, they will call you out in a hot minute.
Oh yeah.
So
yep.
I think that's why I had the benefit of patrolling my own neighborhood that I grew up in for over 30 years.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I grew up Fort Worth, North Side, got to patrol.
Oh my God.
So
how do you do that? Do you run into people? Have you arrested anybody you know?
Oh, that's a great story. My first official arrest was my homeboy from high school.
No.
My tailback. My first, get him, rookie. And I'm like, dude.
Hey, Frank, what's up? Could you turn
I'm
around?
I'm like, say, bro. I'm like,
I don't want to do this, but my supervisor over there.
that was the most quietest drive to the jail I've ever experienced. And it was we shared birthdays. So I arrested him the night before our birthday.
You're a dick.
Dude, I know.
Dick.
So I mean,
dang, were you you had to have been. There's your first arrest, so you're training.
I was in training.
Yeah,
and,
FTO.
He's a detective now.
Okay.
Old school. Get him, rookie.
Nice.
And I'm just like, say, dog, you gonna have to turn around and put your hands behind your back. I felt so bad for him because when I showed up, he's like, so growing up, they called me Chato. Yes, they call dogs Chato. So when people's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, it means
Chato.
Yeah, Chato.
Not Chapo.
No, not Chapo. No,
I was
not that
thinking
guy.
like Narcos and
Yeah,
stuff,
no. So
I was like,
a lot of my
dang.
friends didn't know how to say Chato. So it was, hey, what's up, Chat? They shortened it to like shot, but with a hard ch.
So Chato is a dog?
No. It's
what's Chato mean?
it's like the way your face looks. Like, I guess because I have a pug nose almost.
Okay.
And like Pudge Rodriguez kind of has the same nose.
Were they calling you like a pig face?
Kinda.
Bro, you was a cop before you even knew.
I know, man.
Right?
That's why I always wanted to be one. But yeah, that's my
No shit.
Yep. So
No way.
And I was like, you can't make this stuff up, man.
Let me give you my version. Okay.
There you go.
So I'm a Air Force security forces, right? For a year, I worked in our jail. Now, our jail was the housing unit for all of basically the West Coast,
right?
From California to like Arizona, all the way up to Alaska. Yeah. So we housed maybe 60. I could be embellishing that a little bit, maybe a little less. I think it was about 60. It was always quite a few people in there.
Right on.
So, believe it or not, people do commit crimes, pretty bad crimes in the military too, and they police their own. So, actually harder than I think anybody else ever would. You don't want to break a law in the military, guys.
If you don't already know.
Yeah, UCMJ does not play. There's no forgiveness.
So that, guys, you can't ever say nobody didn't tell you.
Yeah.
So.
So, anyway, this guy gets processed from another state, comes in, and I've always been about treating people like people.
For sure. So,
all of the inmates, and God, I hate sounding like a bragger. All the inmates liked me because I was nice. I was nice to them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like,
would you rather have a nice guy or a dick?
Yeah, right, exactly. They're like, my thought was, if they ever decide to get rowdy, I'm the last one they're going to get rowdy with.
They might protect you over it.
Yeah. So, anyway, one guy, he liked to lift. He liked to work out, wanted to stay in shape. I'm a health nut. I'm all about that lifestyle. You want to stay healthy? Amen. I will help you stay healthy.
For sure. So
I brought my weight equipment in from my house, and I put it in a cell, and I let those guys, as long as the cell stayed shut, could go in, work out. It is all controlled.
Right.
They could go work out. So I did that for this guy. All right. And when he finally transferred out, I think he got busted for steroids or something like that.
Just steroids, guys.
Yeah, steroids. So he gets out processed. He does this, time. I think he did a year or two. He moved to Texas. I get a call of a hit and run. Now we're talking years.
Second hit and run,
right? Yeah. Oh, hit and runs are big. Anyway, hit and run call. It was a Chinese food delivery guy that had sideswiped a car and just kept going. So I get out there and they're all hyped up because they tried to run after the car and they didn't get him. So show up and I'm getting all the information. I'm doing my stuff. I'd probably been at our department for 2-3 years. I'd well established my beat. I knew what I was doing, where I was going. And this guy goes, Levine? I look up and I was like, I didn't recognize him right away. It was nighttime. It was under a street light. I didn't recognize the guy.
Right on.
And I'm like, yeah? He's like Montana Levine? I was like, hold this for a second. Yeah, what about me? Like, I wanted my hands free.
Yeah.
I was like, what's this dude about to do? Because he's a big boy. And he's like, dude, it's me. We'll say Snuffy. It's me, Snuffy. I was like, help me. And he's like, at the jail. I was like, holy shit. Yeah. He's like, dude. And he starts going to his boys. This guy is the best dude. Da. The Dallas shooting happens. The 5 officers get shot. This guy calls me up, says, hey, bro, I want you to know I appreciate the way you treated me. I've never forgot it. He got me that. He got me that carrier.
Nice.
And the plates.
Wow.
Paid for the whole thing.
Wow.
That's like a $2,000 rig.
It's just for being nice, man.
Yeah.
It's just
so that shit comes around.
It sure does, man.
It was crazy.
It sure does.
Now it's not arresting your friend crazy. I don't know. They always say like in the academies, they're like, if you pulled your mother over and she was speeding, would you give her a ticket?
Well, I guess
now, of course, the academy answer is, yep. Sorry, Mom. You get a ticket. But you know damn well you ain't giving your own mom a ticket.
I don't know, dude. I have a story about my mom, but that'll be another episode.
Yeah. Wait until we start having guests and I can have a shrink on here and you can hatch out all your issues.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
my mom's a sweet. She's a saint.
I know.
Yeah. Josie Lee.
Yeah. I got her digits.
Have a talk with her. Yeah.
So community policing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where was I going with that?
How important it is.
It is important.
Yeah.
So how how would you define it? That's the thing. It's different everywhere.
It really is.
So to you, what is community policing to you?
From what I was taught in the academy, which is what I said earlier, the bridge that gaps civilians to police officers. Right. But
who taught you that?
It was, I didn't even remember. was that you? Is that
was
over my class? Yeah.
Yeah.
Instructor Levine.
Yeah.
What it means to me is actually talking to people. I mean, one of my best friends is a MPO now, and
really,
yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. And it's crazy is we both interviewed for the same spot, and he got it, and I was like, dude, you guys didn't pick wrong,
right?
Yeah,
There's
another
guy. You went home and destroyed your house, but
yeah. But that's another story.
That's just frustration.
Yeah,
I get it.
That's the depression episode
that
we do later.
Yeah.
But no, it's to me, it's everything. But to define it, I mean, you can't define it any better than that. It really is the bridge that gaps civilians to police officers, so that they're super approachable, and I try to be that as best. I try to treat everybody like their family.
Right.
Some people might hate that, but
yeah,
I don't ever have problems.
Bro, I'm glad you said that. Because that is a constant, it's been a problem I've had for a long time. If anybody has critiques, most of the time people are like, why does this dude talk like he knows me? I'm not trying to come across that way. I'm a glass half full dude,
bro,
all the time. I'm positive. Yeah. And I try to, how this career field is. Yeah. I would say, man, I don't want to put a percent on it, but there's a lot of negative dudes.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't understand it. I get it. I just choose to control my thoughts in a positive manner rather than let the negative ones take over.
We'll address the elephant in the room. You have a lot of young officers. Like, I was 37 when I went to the academy. Okay. So I lived a while.
Yeah.
So you have the elephant in the room is you have a lot of officers that haven't lived no life.
Mm-hmm.
They try to tell people how to live their lives.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it comes off, they don't mean anything by it.
Right. They're trying to do the right thing.
They're sincerely trying to do the right thing for you guys. It just comes off put sometimes.
Right.
As opposed to somebody like you or I.
Right.
You've been an officer for 16 years. Me, I grew up in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So when tensions are up here,
yeah,
they drop because they know the kind of person that they've only known Jose, Chato, whatever, to be a certain type of person, and it helps.
And if I could give a tip to any new officers out there, I want you to take safety first before you start. If you don't have high social skills, I want you to take the safety aspect first. Be safe.
Definitely.
If you put your foot in your mouth while you're trying to be safe, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
The talking will come. That's what that first 5 years is for. Okay. Get your patrol time in. Get quality patrol time in. If you're a call shagger and you're just knocking out call after call after call, you're going to learn how to talk to people if you didn't have that skill already. Mm-hmm. And you're going to learn how to do it better, even if you were a talker. Like, I talked to people, but I got better at it, even though I was pretty good at talking to people.
Yeah.
One of the problems we have in police work, how do you test for it? How do I hire you? On paper, Centino looks like a rock star, but when he goes out and he talks to somebody,
dumb as rocks,
dumb as a box of rocks, and you're just like, why the fuck did you just say that? Like, everything was chill, and then you opened your mouth, and look what we're dealing with now.
Yeah. And just to touch base on the whole 5-year thing. I'm not even trying to front. I was in patrol for 1 year and 6 months. But I get it. I was a year, but
it's a generalization.
No. Yeah. I just, because whoever's going to see this, they were like, that dude wasn't in patrol for that. I don't care.
Yeah. I get it.
I went from 1 year and 6 months, never had to go hands on because I knew how to talk to people.
Yeah,
and that was one of the things that my sergeant was just like, well, That's one thing you got going for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
then you had another sergeant that was like, here's this position on a gold platter.
Right.
So why would I not take something else?
Right.
And so, because I know when
But
this gets out. And
when I talked to you before, you had told me your whole thing about becoming a cop, you're not out there to kick ass, take names, chase people, do all that
Hell
shit.
no.
You had your own desires to be that voice to the community, and then you got your dream position doing that.
Yeah.
So I want guys like you to be in the positions that they desire the most,
Oh, yeah, for
because no one's going to put more effort into it.
Right.
Now, if you're chasing a schedule and a paycheck, I always think that's the wrong motive. Personally, I just think
tire
that's the
out
wrong
so
motive.
quickly.
I want, like, our SWAT guys. Those dudes are ate up with SWAT life. They love it. They train nonstop.
Eat, sleep, and shit, swap.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's what you
they
need.
walk around like freaking alpha badasses.
Yeah.
I want that.
I shut up and
Right?
they walk in the room. I'm like,
Yeah, I want that. Like McCreary, short little ass. I wouldn't mess with him. The dude was a badass.
Yeah.
You know, like you got these guys that desire to do that job and the drive to do it right.
Yeah.
So a guy like you that you signed up late in life, let's face it, that's just what happened.
That's
And-
God's timing, man.
And you got the position that you wanted in this job.
Yeah. That's why I say I'm like the most blessed dude I know, man. Everything just usually it was hard work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just don't give you the badge.
Your old ass
yeah.
had a struggle on the runs. I remember that.
with the 7-minute mile
Right.
pace,
Yeah, right.
the sleeper. Yeah. So I mean, but it was when you look back on that, you're like,
Yeah.
dang it, like it happened that fast.
Yeah.
So, but
I like to call my life a bunch of happy accidents.
yeah, there you go.
As organized as I looked on paper. Like, oh, look at this kid. He graduated high school. He started college and then decided to serve his country.
Thank you for your service.
And he got, oh my God. Guys, listen. I'm that military guy that, yes, I did sign up during a time of war. It was after 9/11.
I tried.
But I didn't go anywhere. I thought I was going to Germany because the base I got was Melmstrom. I saw it on my paper. I was like, Melmstrom. I look at my wife. I was
Sounds
like,
exotic.
We're going to Germany. And I'm bragging that I'm going to Germany. And then like other guys that like knew, they're like, you're an idiot. You're going to Montana. I was like, shit, I'm going from Michigan to Montana. I'm going from cold to colder.
Yeah.
Dang, Montana was beautiful though.
That's
Because I like to hunt and fish and do all
Right
that
on.
stuff. Sorry, Peter. You know, I respect your decision, but I like doing that stuff. And so Montana was great. And then, so, you know, on paper it looks like, okay. And then I got my associates while I was there. Then I
Nice.
finished my bachelor's just before I got out. I didn't pay for any of it, which was one of the major reasons I signed up.
Right on.
Because I couldn't afford college. And then I, you know, go from that. Then I get another cop job in my home state. And then I transferred down here. I shouldn't say transfer. I came down here, got hired on, had to do the academy here. And while I'm doing that, you know, I got my master's degree.
Yeah.
All that looks great. That shit was a chaotic mess. I didn't plan it. If you would have asked me after I got my associates, are you ever going to get your bachelor's? Nope. I just had downtime and I'm like, I hate being idle. I got to do things. So I was like, I'll do school. And I'm not a smart dude, but I
You utilize your time for your benefit.
right.
Yes.
I'm not, I try, I have a terrible memory. I have to write everything down. I'm very goal oriented. Once I've got my nose set on something, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna figure out a way to do it. So like you know, you said you're blessed. It just things were made to happen this way. And I look at mine as like this tumbling idiot that just, you know, I could have tumbled off the side of a cliff, but instead I fell down the smooth side. And okay, all right. Then I get up on my feet and I start falling again. I'm like,
Landed some pillows.
I just keep landing in the right spots. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And look at this podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody I've talked to, like, I've been planning it for 3 years. I've had several.
Levine, it's okay to cry, bro.
I know.
If you want to cry,
I do.
no judgment.
It just depends.
Yeah.
We haven't drank that much. I should be okay.
No. Yeah.
So
With
and
water,
and
too.
we're good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're mixing water. We're being responsible. I got my wife. We got an extra bed if you want to stay the night. No problem with it. You can sleep in the bed with us. I'm fine with it. It's pretty big.
It just got that's another podcast.
I'm a cuddler. So I like to be. I'll be Little Spoon. You look comfy. So.
big spoon.
Yep. So anyway, I got off on a tangent because of you're being blessed. Yes, I love guys like your story. I had a buddy in the academy. It's my favorite story of anybody that's ever became a cop. He lives with this guy.
Okay.
Right.
Boyfriend?
No, not like that. I thought saying no, not like that.
It is 2021.
Yeah,
So.
that guy is now an officer on our department too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sweet.
became a cop later. So he goes to my buddy and says, "Hey, I'm gonna go take the civil service test in a couple weeks. You should take it with me." What's that for? It's to be a cop. Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I'll go take it with you. Signs up.
There you go.
Doesn't study. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He scores higher on the test than his buddy. He ends up in my academy class.
Oh, nice.
So then when they're asking, why'd you want to be a cop? Why'd you want to be a cop? You know, did do that in the academy. He's like, never really thought about it. He's like, just seemed like a good idea at the time. Meanwhile, guy kills it in the academy, does great, goes out, does the, he listens. He's like, does his time in patrol, goes out there, ends up becoming a detective. Not only does he become a detective, he's a kick-ass detective.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you talking about yourself?
No, not me. Better than most, and he ends up going to homicide. Goes to the homicide team, kicks ass there. Now he ended up transferring out of that to go to the shooting team.
Okay.
But that story is like, I look at every time I talk to him, like, dude, I see him and I just start smiling. Turns out. Okay.
Welcome back.
Sorry. We're learning here, guys.
Yeah.
So apparently on iMovie, which is what we're making this podcast with, you have a max length of 2,000 bars, which
How long
I
was?
want to say that's about an hour.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, because it's... Oh, wait. I got here at... It's about an hour.
Yeah, I think it's about an hour. So, which we are never going to regulate the length of these.
No.
If it goes 3 hours, it goes 3 hours. I just want to get what we're talking about.
Get the point across.
Yeah. So where I left off at was working with that buddy that basically didn't sign up to do this job and ended up being
Freaking going hard in the
going
paint.
hard. Yeah. Like, I mean, out there just killing it.
Yeah.
And in a good way. And and yeah, so guys like you waited that long. I've always known. I mean, I've known forever I was going to be a cop. Didn't know what type, just knew I was going to be a cop. I didn't know if I was going to be a state trooper. Didn't know if I was going to go FBI. I really wanted to do DNR, which in Michigan is the Department of Natural Resources. Here it's like fish and wildlife.
Yeah. And the medical field do not resuscitate.
Yes, yeah.
Let's not confuse the two.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just checking the mics. We had to restart or pick back up because it cut us off. So, but yeah, so happy accidents and all that stuff was basically how I got here. And we talked about what community policing is to us. I really can't add much to what you said because I'm same belief. I think talking
So important.
is 100%, and unfortunately, it's one of those things we can't test for.
And not everybody has that skill.
Yeah, you can look perfect on paper. I don't know what I believe. If it's something you can learn, I think you can improve.
Yeah.
If you've got it. If you just don't have it as an adult, I don't know how much you can learn it.
And that's okay too. I can't hear on here.
I know it did. It got quieter, didn't it?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, I see why. We're back. Yeah, I don't know why we're not as loud as we were.
Yeah, it is kind of odd, but
Sorry, guys.
As long as it's recording. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to test our recording again. We're trying to figure this out.
You guys suck.
Yeah, we're terrible. It's our first one, though.
Yeah.
We're going to get better.
Yeah. It only get up from here. So
If people knew the ancient equipment, I think we're working off one of the first ever gaming laptops from 2009.
yeah.
That's what's recording. I'm trying to do the editing and stuff from the iPad, and it's not the same as what you would use on a laptop like a MacBook or something like that. It's limited, so
Right on.
I'm trying to make the best for what we have for now until we get better.
And I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, bud. I'm trying to.
I'm on iPhone. I can edit left and right with my eyes closed, but
At least you can.
yeah.
This is difficult. I'm surprised I was able to pick up recording where we just left off.
There you go, man.
That was
There you go.
on the fly. So,
Yeah.
which tells you how far technology's come, because
Yeah.
Apple really helped us out
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
a dummy like me be
Make
able to
it-
figure that out.
Make us look better.
Yes.
Thanks, Apple.
Yeah, exactly. So now we know what community policing is to you, what it is to me. What are you doing out there to implement it?
Whew. Man, every interaction, is different. But every interaction, I try to make it is like we've been friends forever. I say that because as well as I know, as well as I do, that when you walk in the room, what happens? Everybody puckers up. Oh, who called the police?
Yeah.
What's going on? What happened?
Yeah.
Well, I got warrants. Like they start thinking stuff in their head, and you're just like, hey, relax. And so I try to, and by fixing that, I just talk to them. So my daughter, do you know that person? I do now.
Yeah.
What do you do that?
Right.
And that's just how I try to treat people. Like you're talking to your mom, like you're talking to your grandma, your own uncle. Everybody's dealing with something.
Right.
So, and I try to ease that by being a friend, being somebody. Dude, I tell people this all the time. I was Jose Centeno for 36 years before I ever had a uniform on, or before I ever had a badge. People still see me and they're like, dude, this doesn't even seem real because
Yeah.
I'm wearing a freaking uniform.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, don't let it. I'm just the same dude, man. I just have a badge now.
Yep.
So
It's a lot of power, though.
yeah. And sometimes I forget that.
Yeah.
I forget that in a sense of that because maybe I am being too nice and maybe I am, but man, it's just a better outcome.
Right.
And I think you mentioned it earlier, if that's the only rag on you, man, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I still keep safety as my priority. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at hands and I'm looking at just assessing the situation, assessing what's going on, but at the same time, dude, I don't need them acting I just want them to be comfortable. Cause you mentioned it earlier. Discretion is everything, man.
Yeah.
Discretion is everything. And I wish in 90, this is just my numbers, but I really feel like 99% of the department uses discretion, and not everybody needs to go to jail.
Right.
Not everybody needs to get put in cuffs.
Yeah.
Not everybody
Bigger
needs,
picture.
Yeah. It's just like, dude,
So for those that don't fully understand what discretion is as far as police life goes, is there's certain things we can't avoid for arresting people. Felonies. If you've got a felony charge, I can't, even if I want to help you out, I can't without losing my job.
Exactly.
And that affecting my family. I'm not willing to do that.
that's the hands tied part for us.
That's
man.
the hands tied.
Yep.
Now, if it's not a felony, not all charges, but a lot, there's discretion where I can decide, does this guy need to go on cuffs? Like, speeding. I'll just go with some of the civil.
Would you agree
infractions.
that most people talk themselves into cuffs?
Oh, I wouldn't say most people talk themselves into cuffs. I will say that that it happens for sure. Like times that I wasn't going to arrest, I'm just like, you need to go that way and you need to go that way. And then they start running their mouth.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude.
It's a percentage of people that do, and you could beg them. You're like,
Right.
dude, like this call ain't even about you.
Right.
Look at the big picture here, bro.
Yeah.
You call this person, call that person,
Yeah.
and then when you do,
Yeah.
it's like, dude.
Yeah, and that all affects the community policing aspect, because when I'm out on a call and I've got people trying to film me, and I don't mind that.
Which I don't mind either.
I love it because I'm going to do the right thing.
Tag me.
Yeah, right.
Tag me.
I love it, but don't try to be a hindrance to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, I got to be safe myself. I don't know you. I don't know if you're associated with the people I'm dealing with or any of that. Film me from enough space
safe distance
that I don't have to keep looking over my shoulder to see if you're up on me. And I think that's a fair compromise.
Do you think civilians do that? Is it more of, I understand they're trying to protect people and they're trying to make sure that nothing bad happens.
99% of the people doing that.
And that's
trying to
beautiful.
Yeah.
But do you think,
because we need to be kept in check.
Some of them don't understand that if they get too close, they could be charged with.
I think a lot of them don't. I think
that's a good.
I think there's a big this is where the social media aspect comes into stuff. They see these people that have acted a fool trying to videotape and make a point like, look what I'm doing, and they're
touching officers,
trying to provoke cops and do dumb stuff like that. Like, again, I agree. Cops need to be kept in check
for sure,
because it is a lot of power they hold to be able to take somebody's freedom.
Yeah,
and but one, your time to fight is in the court. Nothing is going to make you look better than you. I call it the Bugs Bunny effect. Mm-hmm. Kill him with kindness and kisses. Yeah. Nothing pissed off Elmer Fudd more than when Bugs Bunny was kissing him and being nice to him. He didn't trust him. So do that to the cops. Okay. If that cop's being an asshole, because there are some people that aren't the nicest, don't come across the best, probably shouldn't do this job.
Dicks.
Yeah, assholes.
The
so,
dick cops.
And that's in any job. It's going to happen. You're going to catch somebody that snuck through the cracks, shouldn't do this job. Yeah. And it's just part of the process. Yeah. Figure out who he is or her and get rid of him. Mm-hmm. If that's cause, or fix them. Yeah. If there's an addressable issue that it's not too far gone that they can be fixed. Right on. But there's got to be this compromise with the community. Because I'm not going to go to you working over at Subway, and we're on a Subway theme. I'm not going to videotape me. Oh, he didn't use his glove when
Target or
wherever. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now their job isn't the same.
And I get it.
The
seriousness is not the same.
It's not the same. They don't have the right to take away freedom. They don't have the right. I'm just saying, guys.
These are just examples.
We're people.
Yeah.
We screw up. We do all that stuff. Yes, we should be used to the stress. Yes, we should. There's all these factors. But you don't know how long I've been doing the job. It could be, my first year out there on my own. I'm already nervous. I'm trying to do the right thing, and now between me watching my safety and trying to watch out for some guy trying to make an example of me, it sucks. Like I said, I don't know the right answer. I just want to compromise. I just would like the public to know, yes, film me, please. My body cam's going. Yeah. I love body cameras. Yeah. I had a body cam. I had bought my own body camera before body cameras were a thing. I got one off Amazon for like $65.
Your protection and theirs is what I tell people. Is like, man, you're not. It's not hurting.
Let's get as many angles as this ugly mug as you can get. I don't care.
At least get my good side.
Yeah,
that's me.
Like, I don't mind, guys. Film me, please film me. But let's have the same respect for each other. Mm-hmm. If we're talking a street distance apart, like the width of a street, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. Stay on the other side of the street. I don't want you getting hit by traffic trying to come over and mess with me. But
I go back to, dude, we're so blessed.
Yeah, we got it made.
We
get paid very well.
Yes.
And we work for a great department, and we're supported by citizens.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the trifecta for police work.
But what and I tell people this all the time, man, you guys are watching too much YouTube. That's what fuels the ugly flame. And that's what, and it's something that I don't think I don't see it going away. But if we can put a dent in
it, to me, it's new.
Yeah.
It's still in its infancy as far as cameras, filming police everywhere.
Right on.
And it's been good. It's caused good change for police work.
For sure.
I know, like, I instinctually, I jump out of the car, whatever it is. I've activated my camera before they had the automatic activations and stuff like that. Like, I've activated my camera subconsciously without even knowing I did it, but I trained myself to do it.
Yeah. Muscle memory.
Yeah, that muscle memory in a good way, not in a way that was going to jeopardize my safety. Right. But I figured that out for myself. So I think that in the community policing aspect, the community says what they want, and we figure out a way to make that work. Yeah. Cameras, Rodney King happened. We figured out, oh shit, cameras are a good thing.
The VHS, baby.
Yeah. So you had VHS cameras put in patrol cars, and then the
I just aged myself again.
What was the Ferguson one? What was that? Michael Brown? The Michael Brown thing happened. Yeah. So Michael Brown thing happened. Body cams were out there, but they weren't prominent yet. Right on. And they were like, we want officers to have body cameras. Yep. That came out. So we keep making great strides, and police work keeps getting better and better and better. And the thing that's changed, and the reason why I think we're seeing it so often, is now everybody's filming. There's cameras everywhere, Ring cameras. You got Arlo and all that stuff, and then
city cameras,
and then everywhere. Cell phone cameras. Everybody's got that.
Big Brother, baby.
Right. So, what's the big play? What's causing all of this stuff that's happened since policing started in the United States? Is now it can be filmed almost everywhere. Yeah. And it's instantly put out there on social media without any context or anything. Yeah. So that is the big change. And that's what I mean. Like, it's in its infancy. Right now, we're on that roller coaster, and we're on the first big hill. We're going straight down.
What does media do?
Yeah.
They put stuff out
bleeds,
there.
It leads, baby. So we're on that downhill. And this is my optimism. We're going to go back up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're figuring it out. Right now, we're figuring it out. People are I got enough faith in people that they're going to start learning, how to do the homework and how to look into stuff, how to wait for investigations to play out. Yeah. I like that departments aren't waiting so long to put stuff out there.
Like press conferences,
stuff like that. I just wish they did it in a controlled, fast-paced method. Right. So you and I can watch a body cam and we can say, okay, there's no juveniles, there's no witnesses or victims that are going to be identified in here that shouldn't be. So you got to take that for what it is. That's some of the stuff that we're looking for before you start releasing this stuff. So
if the question ever arises, why don't you just record that and put it? Because we can't.
Yeah.
It's policy. We can't just throw stuff out there.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, because that question's gonna. Why don't you?
Let's be fair. Yeah. Suspects have rights as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Because what? I'm making up a scenario, but what if
hypothetical guys?
Hypothetical. Cop jumps out of his car. He sees a guy pulling a gun and shooting at a dude, and that officer shoots him for shooting at that guy. Then we find out, big picture, that guy was trying to protect somebody. He's trying to protect somebody else. Another gun's in play. This is hypothetical.
Hypothetical, guys.
So we show a body cam footage now, and we just made that guy look like an asshole for how many weeks, months before we find out later on in the investigation
he was the hero.
He was the hero. Yeah. So, guys, time. I know we're in this instant gratification thing with social media.
They want answers, and they want it now.
I think we need to, I love Star Wars, so Yoda, patience, Patience is a virtue. Obi-Wan, patience. Yeah. Qui-Gon, patience. This is preached, Yeah. So be patient. Yeah. it will be faster than it's ever been, but it doesn't need to be today. No. You know, the shooting just happened. It doesn't have to come out tomorrow. Now, if it can be, though, do it.
Yeah.
Don't slow it down just because you're like, well, we got to wait. We got to make sure, you know, there's a subjectivity to it. And I don't ever think we're going to get it 100% right.
Yeah. And it won't happen overnight.
Right.
But it is being worked on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know any better. All I've known is cameras.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's not an issue.
Yeah. You didn't come into it before cameras were a thing. So policing is going to, it's cool I like seeing the changes. I like seeing, and folks, if you don't know, most police hate change, and it's not because,
and that's anywhere you work.
I was going to say, it's just about any field, because you get comfortable. You're like, all right, I know this job. I'm doing it. I got it down. Now you give me a new report writing system. What the hell? The old one worked just fine.
I had just learned the old one, and they switched it to the new one. But I mean, I'm in that Gen X where I know how to work technology, and
I went analog to digital.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure it out as I go. I do pretty well. I got lucky my nerd side growing up, you know, about 97. I got
I think there's
maybe 96. I got a Gateway computer.
I didn't own a computer till I got out on my own and had my first real job in the medical field. So
I don't know how we got it. It's not like we were a rich family by any means, but we got a Gateway computer.
They were rich.
Yeah. Hella rich. Had spam in the counter. I know that. Anyway.
I saw a video, and I think there's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? It's about change.
Huh.
If anybody wants to look at that, or give them the pickle. those are books and videos.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Look them up. Yeah. And it was all about change and how every day we're changing.
Yeah.
So, and always for the better. So,
yeah. So with how we implement community policing, see how you do it. I'm not going to say mine's a lot different, but the one thing that I do any chance I can is educate.
Yes.
So I strike up a conversation. Hey man, how you doing? Oh, I love being in your guys' town. The police here are so friendly, you know, and that's great. And so I'm like, yeah, man. And I'll ask them, you got any questions? You ever been wondering anything like that? I'm an educator by nature. I just love teaching people stuff, because I think it's the ultimate power to understanding.
Knowledge is power.
What we do, why we do, when we do it, stuff like that. So body camera. I'll take my body camera off. I show it to them like, this is how it works.
Kids love it. Man.
It's on right now. This power button, and that stuff. And then I
always give them that. If I don't know the answer, I know people who do. So
yes.
Yep.
Some of the stuff that I hate seeing though with community policing is it's more than just, hey, look. In the way that I see it on social media and stuff is, look at this officer. He's petting a puppy.
Yeah.
Look at this officer. He's fixing a tire. Oh, weird. That camera just happened to be on him right when he's
so
fixing.
Fake. Does it happen? Yes.
Yes.
But when it's super produced like that, it's kind of.
Everybody knows when they see propaganda. Yeah. If it ain't genuine, people know.
People will call it out.
They'll call it out.
This is BS.
Yeah. And other cops will call it out with each other.
Yeah.
Like, look at Zentino over there faking, posing for that picture.
You don't even know how to change a tire.
Right? Dude ain't rode a bike ever.
Yeah.
I hate that. Yeah. I hate it. Do I get the point of it? Yeah, you're trying to show police in a positive light, but do it naturally.
Yeah, let it be organic.
Yeah. Organic. I like that. So the improvement side of that with social media, again, it all comes back to me, bridging this gap of social media, how to use it the right way.
Yeah.
To me, for community policing, social media should be a tool.
Yeah.
Social media, I should be able to, like if I'm a beat officer,
right on.
I should have a beat page set up.
Yeah.
Whether it's on Instagram
or the Facebook neighborhoods,
whatever it is, I should have a beat. And I should be able to communicate like, hey guys, we're looking for this person. This is the activity we've been seeing going on. And then the community community can also put on there, oh, look, I had this picture on my Ring camera. Can anybody help me out? You know, can this get to Officer, you know, Snuffy, who's our beat officer, our MPO, whatever it is. Cops can't do that.
Yeah.
Why? Because one, we're going back to liability stuff. Are they trained in it?
Yeah.
No. Is there training for social media? There could be.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we could do to improve later on down the line. Let's get some social media training. Let officers like, all right, Zentino, you've been trained in social media. You know what we can put out there, what we can't put out there.
Yeah.
You can open up your own page or however they want that to be.
But that, you know what? Common sense goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And that guys, I have zero examples, but common sense goes a long way when it comes to social media. What Levine is referring to is these neighborhood pages. They're usually run by the head of the neighborhood.
Right.
And these pages it's a mix.
Yeah.
You can post bolos.
Yeah.
But then you get people just
be on the lookout.
Yeah, be on the lookouts.
Yeah,
and then you get the other group that all they want to do is talk trash the entire time.
Yeah, shouldn't you be out?
It kind of takes away from.
Don't you got better things to do? Shouldn't you be out catching murderers instead of the guy that moves Sally's trash can down the street?
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
And we do have a media team.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
A really good media team, actually.
Yep, we have one. We're at a big department, though.
Yeah.
We're in one of the top 15 size departments in the nation. So I'm sure eventually people are going to know where we're from, where we work. But like I said, I'm not putting any of my department that I work for because we're trying to keep that stuff separate.
Yeah, for sure.
But so as far as improving community policing, I want social media to become an actual tool. One, to help fight crime.
Yeah.
If there's an active shooter happening at a church, which has happened several times.
Yeah.
That's not unfortunately, it's not an uncommon thing. Or there's maybe an active shooter at a school. I want that stuff to get out there as fast as it can.
Sure.
And if I can help my beat, my area, then I should be putting that stuff out there to the people that I'm talking to. But we can't do that yet.
No.
And I understand from the department side too.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be trained in it. You can't just go out there and recklessly
put information.
Because what do we say?
Yeah.
Not all cops know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of context lost when you're putting stuff out just in typing.
Yep. And people have been in trouble for
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yep.
So, other ways to improve. Find out what your community needs. Just because one side of town, wants you to be on Facebook, and the other side of town, maybe they just need to see who you are. Get out there more.
Yeah.
Meet up with communicate with your MPOs. You're an MPO.
Yeah.
How often do your beat officers talk to you and try to figure out what's going on in the area?
I think it's I've talked to my buddies, and I think a lot. They do their best to keep up with weekly crime stats, and they do. So I get these emails,
right?
And so it's put out there,
yeah.
And mind you, what we're talking about, these are because we don't know who this is going to reach. So these are just like little tips for maybe the town that you're from, because I can't speak enough about our MPOs, man. Those guys are always working. Those guys are always out there.
Yeah.
Those guys know what they're doing. They're at city hall meetings, or community meetings, or, you name it, they're there. Whether it's shaking hands and kissing babies. And so, find your non-emergency number.
Right.
Find out who your MPO is for your neighborhood, if you don't already know that. These little things can help. They can go a long way. They get your voice heard. They can, by you talking them, they'll amplify your voice. If I said that right. So, but
Yeah. Yeah. The communication, I mean, communication, it's funny how it just all falls back to that and talking. I think another thing that would help improve it is expanding the networking between departments.
yeah,
It's not just how often do you talk to another department?
if it's not on social media,
Right.
almost never.
Almost never.
You know,
So think about it. A lot of times things spill over to different sides of town. And unless it's like a major trend, we don't know what's going on
right?
in our sister town.
Yeah,
I think they
that
call
we're
it.
so close to,
Right.
And
So-
like we're a stone's throw away,
Right.
And
So
then we don't know what's.
I
going
think
on
it's
there.
more than just communicating with citizens. It's also communicating with your adjacent agencies.
with your fellow brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And-
But how not every other city has an NPO or has officers that work beats and stuff like that. So I definitely don't want to come across like I want to nationalize policing. I think that's one of the worst ideas ever, because what works in Austin, Texas for cops is not going to work in Baltimore. It's not going to work in
Houston,
Flint.
Detroit.
It's all different, and you have to know your own culture. So what works here and what we're giving, it's like anything. Nothing I say ever works 100% of the time.
Got to find what works for you, and
Find what
run
works
with
for
it.
your area and go from there. So some of the stuff we're throwing out is, like we'd say in the academy, it's a tool for your tool belt.
Yeah,
Some tools you just keep in the toolbox because you're not going to put it on your belt. You don't use it that often. But some of the stuff you may find out is a miracle tool for you, and I want you to keep using it. So that's all we're trying to do there.
Yeah.
As far as the future of community policing, like I said, I
to be seen, baby.
I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I would love to see podcasts pop up with other departments. Instead of, I get the quick little video clips and whatnot,
Right.
but how do you ever really get a message out there
Yeah,
without actual discussion? So,
yeah,
and I think that's a good spot for us to start closing this on.
Yeah.
As far as the future goes,
yeah.
I see the future for this podcast, guys, is we want to expand. We're going to try to give you guys 10 episodes. So just Zentino and I. Once we get those 10 episodes under our belt, I'm hoping we get a little more cash flow.
Yeah,
Not necessarily from the podcast. I'm not in this for money. I don't think you're in it
Oh God, no.
for money.
No.
We're in this for the message.
Yeah.
But we are trying to get the proper equipment. We need more mics.
This is fancy though.
It is fancy. But the mic thing that we have only hooks up two. So if we got another guest, we need a mic or two.
least a
So
third
I think
one,
4 mics max.
be
We need a
nice.
little longer table, which I think we're going to get that taken care
Different
of.
special guests from different
Yes.
units.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want guests from other units.
SWAT.
I want
SRT, CIT.
community leaders in different
Yeah.
places. I want professors. I want medical. I want FD guys. I want veteran-owned businesses, retiree-owned businesses. Shout out to Paul Ware, who he's my gun maker.
There you go.
He's retired from our department. Great guy for making guns. I don't have my. I have one of his coins. I just don't have it with me.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think of other veteran-owned. My buddy Brandon, he's a veteran from military. He's got his own barbecue truck that he's got now.
Be so nice to get their perspective
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, stuff like that. What life's like after service, how they got going down the path they've got going. So I just see a lot of cool stuff for the future for this that just revolves around the front line of life. Teachers, medical, ambulance, fire. I want all because their perspectives matter and
Women.
they're different everywhere.
Yeah.
And not just the ones that do the job, the spouses.
Yeah.
I really want to do a spouses episode where they talk about, what it's like,
Sleeping alone in bed.
yeah,
having to wait
waiting,
up for their-
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So guys on deployment, their spouses on deployment. I've got some on both sides of the fence, male, female. I've got, civilian spouses that they've had to deal with that stuff. And it's awesome to hear their perspective. And I think it really helps out, especially people that are just getting into these types of work environments. Teachers is sitting behind a desk hours at a time. They're not
dealing with y'all's kids.
Yeah. And that's time away from their family and their loved ones and stuff too.
Oh, yeah,
so,
for sure.
So I just see that as the future of this, and I'm excited to see how far we can make this go.
Yeah. And then to
think this is our first one, and we've talked for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With about a shot and a half worth of tequila.
Yeah,
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's sky's the limit, man.
Yeah. So, all right. I
guess we'll end it on that.
I think that's
note.
how we end it. Eventually, guys, we're gonna have our own little theme picture on the TV, so you don't have to watch the Google Maps thing.
Action hero running across the screen or something.
Right, and then
music playing.
I have a guy, my buddy Vincent, a friend of a friend. He's mad skills on guitars.
Our own theme music.
Yes. So he's going
Nice.
to. I was thinking kind of like Chappelle's show.
Yeah,
like when the guys are sitting there singing and playing, and Chappelle walks through. So we're gonna do something similar to that because he's the one making
donut, baby.
He's the one making the music. I want his face to be seen. I want people to see his skills and get his props.
There you go.
So,
man.
but all right, brother, it's been fun.
High fives.
Super corny. All right, bro.
Peace.